So Buckets and Fudd ended up with 25 between them.
That's all you needed.
Yeah, 71-45. Honestly, I don't know what to say about that game. That I honestly think there's games where we should just play our B team, and it would be a way closer game than playing some of these Big East teams. That St. John's, I'm sorry, girls, you're not that good, and it's hard to watch that after a while. After the first 20 minutes, I'm like, man, what can they do in the second half? Not much. They go on to score 24 points in the second half against us, and too little, too late. And the Huskies roll 7-0 in the conference right now. And I agree with you, man. Where's the competition? I don't know how happy Gino was. I do know I listened to some of the press conference after, and it's like I think sometimes it's pushing us backward instead of forward to play these lesser teams.
I agree. We've been saying this for, I don't know, since the AAC days. And you just watch other leagues, and, like, I love that LSU Vanderbilt game that we were talking about earlier in the week. That was, back and forth,
man. And at least it's pushing LSU to make them better.
Exactly. And every single person on those teams. It was great to see Paige last night. She's back from injury. She looked even better than before, and she looked like she's been missing some time and been waiting to get back on the basketball court somehow, some way. Love the little runner that was in that intro Kurt put together, as Bob Joyce mentioned, 1 foot runner off the glass like that. Add that to the repertoire, along with AZ Fudd doing a couple of runners in the lane last night. Yeah, you're right. This is a glorified practice game at times, and coaches getting a lot of work from some youngsters. They've been working on a press. They've been working on different lineup changes. But there's a time where the entry pass into St. John's down low, Sarah Strong just D's it up, gets the block by herself, and just dribbles down the court and lays it up as if she's playing a bunch of fifth graders. It looks like they are so head and shoulders above the rest of the league that it's not pushing them in the way that we want it to be, because we've got Tennessee, South Carolina coming up, and when the big tournament comes around, we all look at the Sweet 16 as like this benchmark of what this team is going to be. Are they a Final Four team, or are they a team that's just like a normal team like the rest of the country? And it's tough to figure out what we got when we watch them play in the Where is the Competition tour of the Big East. It's good to see, like, Chen and El Alfie, they're developing something, man. They got chemistry, and they're building on their game every single week. But I would just love for those two to build on their game in a way where if they don't make the right play, that it's going to burn them. There's so many times last night that, 3 girls are going up for a rebound. 2 are from St. John's. 1 is from UConn. And the girls from St. John's looks like they've never seen a ball bounce off the rim before. And AZ Fudd, of all people, not Alfie, who's taller than everybody else, not Sarah Strong, who might be meaner than everybody. AZ Fudd, the nice little AZ Fudd, pushes 2 girls out of the way, gets the rebound in the offensive putback and score. And, like, just that, there's so many plays in that game that when people get mad at me of saying, where's the competition tour in the Big East, I can point out and say, like, this is exactly what I'm talking about. It might look good on paper when you look at the box score and the stats and UConn's winning by 30 or whatever, yay. But when you get into the meat and potatoes of national competition in the NCAAs, we aren't seeing it unless we go way outside this conference.
Well, and here's the thing, and I don't think you're being, disparaging in any way, shape, or form towards UConn. It's these other teams need to raise their bar. Now, these other conferences have. When you look at what Notre Dame and Tennessee and South Carolina, LSU, Baylor, some of these teams, UCLA now, when you look around the country, there's now 4 strong at the top of every conference where it used to be 1 or 2. But the Big East is not 4 strong at the top. It might be UConn and Creighton, period, in the women's division. So when I'm watching last night's game, and I don't like to pick people apart but so that Paige and Fudd are not going to play that much. So they played 25 and 23 minutes. But it's Ice Brady's 16 minutes and Shade's 16 minutes and KK Arnold's 21 minutes that have the most value. And KK, okay, she played a pretty good game, not great. Chelly actually played a really good game. Ice Brady looks like she's never played basketball at times. And it's like, listen, you need to be dominating this average team so that Gino says, hey, I can trust you against Tennessee. with 15 minutes. I can trust you against Tennessee with 20 minutes if somebody gets in foul trouble. I'm not worried about the starting five. I never have been. Most of these are all Americans. Yeah. Sarah Strong is one of the top 5 freshmen in the country easily. Maybe if the top freshman. She's amazing. We don't have to worry about her. I'm worried about who's number 7, who's number 8, who's number 9 in this rotation. And when you get in there, you don't need to tighten up. You should be loose. It should be, okay, we're up 20 points, and then it got back to where it was almost a 10-point game again because our second 5 were running around there playing at St. John's level. That's what we're talking about. It's like, listen, our starting 5, they're fine. Gino does not have to worry about them. But when he goes to sub out, who's going to be the first sub? Who's going to be the second sub? And why? And what are you going to add? Are you great at handling the ball? You great at rebounds? You good at threes? What are you? So I know KK and Ashland started a lot of games last year. I don't think he's worried about them that much. But after that, Ice Brady has to be there for us. She's got to be that big, strong inside force, and that's why El Alfie's starting right now.
I agree.
And I honestly think El Alfie now is a double-double almost every game. She should be thinking double-double every game. That's my role on this team because she's that good. And I'll tell you who thought she was that good is St. John's. All they did was keep double-teaming her and holding the crap out of her so she couldn't do anything down low in the paint. So I just, when I'm watching these games, I know we're going to win the game. That's not what I'm looking at now. Now I'm looking at, okay, when we do play a top 10 or top 15 caliber team, do we have a chance to even beat them?
Right. Like, it's great to see El Alfie develop, and it's great to see her and Ice kind of get mixed in with different lineups. But still, I would like to see them against Ashley Moreau of LSU. Like, how are they going to be against the really good power forward centers of this country? Because that's what we measure UConn women's basketball on. Conference championships are great, and we love them. It's awesome, but it's somewhat of a foregone conclusion. We're looking at the national title with this program. And, they didn't shoot the best from three-pointer, 4 for 14. Had some turnovers, 13. Against anyone else, that would be the topic of conversation. Like, we have to shoot better if we want to win these games.
And we can't turn it over. Free throws.
We can't. We got to get to the free throw.
When we're up 20, why do we take 3? I'm driving on this team because they can't stop us. I know we're worried a little bit about injuries, but you can't worry about injuries when you're playing a basketball game.
But still, like, you're trying to get work in beyond this game. Like, this game is secondary almost to, like, the future games. Hopefully we get something better on Sunday. Seton Hall coming to town. Seton Hall is 5-1 in the Big East. They're 13-4 overall. I'm hoping, man. I'm hoping someone in this conference will shut me up about where is the competition tour. But until I see it, I'm going to keep on saying it.
And here's the thing. On the men's side, every game's going to be close. We're going to go down to the end of almost every one of these Big East games. I don't even care if it's the bottom, DePaul or Butler, any of those teams. It's going to come down to some foul shots. It's going to come down to some clutch shots. What's pushing us to where we need someone to make a clutch shot? What's pushing us right now to where we have to make those free throws? Yeah, we're 9 for 11 against St. John's. There was no pressure in some of those free throws. But when we get in a game and we're not getting 20 shots at this and 18 free throws, we're going to get in some games where we've got to make a clutch 3. We've got to make a clutch 2. Who's going to be able to make those shots?
And, looking at South Carolina's just schedule and what is matching up with them and their tests that they get throughout the year before they hit the tournament, they've got 4 top 25 games in a row. They just beat Texas. They're about to play Alabama. They will host Oklahoma. Then they go to Tennessee. That's a gauntlet for any team, man. You just look at that. They could win all 4, and they could win all 4 by double digits. But I'll bet you $1 million they're going to be tested in those 4 games in their conference way more than UConn.
Has 6 top 25 teams in it, including number 3 Notre Dame.
Yeah.
So you're constantly going to be playing competition. And I know some of them now are like California and some of these Western teams that are in there, but still they're very good programs. And honestly, I'd rather see us in the ACC having to play a schedule like that and get us ready like the Big East does the men.
For sure. For sure. We do have some serious basketball up north. Now, I've been trying to school people on this tournament that goes on in Springfield, Massachusetts for quite some time. Some people know, some people don't. Dibs, this is the best of the best high school basketball up across the border at a thing they call Hoops Hall. It's already begun. Some Massachusetts schools on the court. Right now, we're looking at Holy Cross High School out of Connecticut on the court. The girls' team's taking on Springfield Central. A little bit later this afternoon, Andover of Massachusetts taking on Notre Dame of Connecticut. They got that Abdul Torre on that team. I think he just got offered, too.
Yeah, he did. He got a scholarship offer.
Burke High School of Massachusetts taking on East Catholic of Connecticut. That's at 6 o'clock tonight. But the nationally ranked, not only players, but also schools are going to be in the mix. If you went last year, you saw Montverde with Liam McNeely, who's now for UConn, Cooper Flagg, who's now the talk of college basketball down at Duke. Montverde taking on Oak Hill tomorrow at 7:30. So a bunch of Connecticut, a bunch of national programs, and a bunch of dudes that are going to be, in 2 years, Dibs, 2 years, they're going to be top 10 picks in the NBA. This AJ DePonsa, I don't know how you say his last name yet. He's the kid from BYU, the number one overall that BYU landed somehow, some way. He'll be up there playing for Utah Prep. The Boozer boys, Cameron Boozer, probably going to be your number 2 pick overall in the draft in 2 years. He's playing with Christopher Columbus High School, already committed to Duke. Darren Patterson, your number 3 draftee in 2026. He'll be up there with Prolific Prep. Dude, just the list goes on and on of top 100 recruits that are up there. Several guys that are already signed up to UConn, one lady who's signed up to UConn as well. So up there at Hoops Hall is really the creme de la creme of high school basketball players in the next 2 years, juniors and seniors that are going to be going at it for the next 4 days.
They come from everywhere too, like you said. Santa Barbara from California.
Yeah.
You've got Ontario Christian from California, Archbishop Mitty from California. Who else we got? St. Joseph's from California, Archbishop Mitty High School from California. So they're coming from all over. There's one from Louisiana. There's one from Utah. So they're coming from everywhere. This is definitely one of the best. I mean, I know Christ the King High School in New York is definitely one of the best basketball high schools in the country. This is the girls' side, but still very, very talented group. So I agree.
IMG will be here.
It's like a futures game here.
Correct.
Futures,
it is like
tournament.
a futures game. I want to give you some of the individuals. Darius Adams, number 19 in the class of 2025. He's from Lalamere out of Indiana, going to UConn next year. Lalamere's got a lot of talent on that team. Hudson Greer going to Creighton next year. He's going to be playing for Mount Verde up there. Got a kid going to Harvard who's a top 33 guy. Esri Harrington going to Harvard, going to be in that game. The other UConn player or recruit that I see, girls top 100 in the class 2025. This is senior Khalees Fisher. She plays for IMG. She'll be going to UConn next year. She's up at Hoops Hall this weekend. So a lot of basketball in our area on top of the college hoops.
Wanted to bring up Dion here with his team. It's the first time in 100 years that the Colorado football team has had a GPA across the board over 3.
No way!
So not only is he a hell of a coach, he's making these kids go to school.
You know who brings that GPA up? It's not the kicker. It's not the punter. It's the best kid on the team. Travis Hunter has like a 4.0. And he's not taking jokey classes either. The kid, all he does is go to his dorm room, go to class, and go to the facility. He does not party. He does not hang out as much as most college kids would. But usually, in even my teams that I played on, hate to break it to you, Dibs, I was not bringing up the GPA on my football team.
Yeah, he even said, this is what Dion said to the team, you got to have a high GPA or you're not getting your NIL. But first time in program history, the cumulative average of the entire team is over 3.
What are you going to argue about now?
Yeah.
What are you going to argue about
I
now?
hate Dion.
Yeah. Why? He his one more than any other.
Wasn't it Bobby
coach in
Knight?
the
Wasn't 100% of his kids always graduated?
Yeah.
I know Gino's always 100% graduated.
And especially nowadays, man, it's tough to do. It's tough to do because when a school
stay and graduate.
But when a school is also giving you money on top of a booster's one thing. He's kind of a shadow figure that I don't really know about. If he's giving me NIL money, I might not go to class and the booster ain't going to care about it. For the school now to give out NIL, you better believe that they're making sure these kids are going to class. So I don't know. I think that that's going to be a topic of conversation in the near future as far as these NILs and transfers go. Are these kids really students as much as athletes? But Deion's proven it, man. That's awesome. That's the best stat of the day for me.
We will have Ashley Battle coming up next. Watching some NBA after I watched the women play, watched the Celtics play last night. Kind of disappointing performance.
Very
from
disappointed.
Them. Awful uniforms. We'll ask Ashley about the color scheme there.
What?
Reminded me of the Oregon Ducks. They had this lime. I don't even know how to describe the electric green, but it's not normal for this Celtics fan to see what they're wearing last night. They go down north across the border. Porzingis had 18.
Yeah.
110-97. It looked like fourth quarter they just ran out of gas.
But it's the Raptors, dude. The Raptors are not a good team.
10-31, dude.
This is a should-win ball game, and, it didn't feel like it was for the Celtics. The Knicks, however, very impressed with their win, 125-119 over the 76ers. The most impressive thing that I found out, besides my man Josh Hart keeps on getting double-doubles, made it a triple-double last night, and besides Brunson owning that building, that is Jalen Brunson's building, by the way, Karl Anthony Towns has been playing with a chipped bone in his thumb. Usually, Dibs, a hangnail will get these guys out for 2 weeks. This guy is impressing me every single day.
As long as it's not floating at his fingertip, I don't know.
I don't know. It might be floating in his fingertip, but that guy slams all the time.
It's probably at the base of his thumb, at the knuckle somewhere.
Every excuse these guys have in the NBA, they'll use to not play. And I just love seeing that story and then seeing how well he's doing. I'm kind of becoming a Knicks fan with some of the blue collar that I see around there. And I love the coach. Good coach.